Hello, hello. It's all happening. Are we on? I believe it's all happening. Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show VCQ Live. Dan here.
Nick here. Hello.
Wunderbar.
Indeed. Wandering bars.
How are you, mate?
I'm alright. How are you?
I'm alright. I was knackered after Friday,
Yep.
but it was an awesome day.
We should
was
say
so good.
thank you to, let's see, who did we have? Chris and Mike and Toby and David
Nick
and Nick, yes, and Rob,
and Rob.
who came to an experience day here at TPS Towers.
TPS Towers. Shangri-La.
Shangri-La. And we had a lovely day.
It was really wonderful.
What I found most hilarious across the whole day was we started off with highly complex wet, dry, wet rigs.
All sounding epic.
All
and,
the shenanigan.
Yep. Shenanigan.
And then sorry if you don't know Latin, frankly, where did you go to school? I don't know Latin, by the way. We ended up with Dan's 61 Les Paul Junior plugged into a cranked Marshall with a booster pedal.
What boost pedal was it?
It was a Cornish. Actually, it started off as a Cornish treble booster.
Right.
It then progressed to an Analog Man Beano boost.
Oh, nice.
And ended up at a Kingsley Page. Because as much as we liked it cranked, it was hurting
Right.
some people, including me. So
Excellent.
yeah.
Excellent. That was so much fun. So yeah, thank you to all those guys who came down and hang out. It was brilliant.
Yeah, funnily enough, driving home in the car. Welcome, by the way. Welcome to VCQ. For those of you who are new, we do this every Monday or most Mondays when we can. And we take questions from the floor. We prioritise the super chats. We talk about the previous week. Talk about anything you want to talk about. Hello to our patrons on patreon.com.
Yes, indeed. Are we recording? We are.
We are.
Excellent.
This will go out, it's only taken me about 9 weeks to remember. This will go out as a podcast to our patrons on Patreon. And just to say, if you are a That Pedal Show patron, next month's giveaway is a JHS Bonsai.
Oh, wow.
Josh,
How cool.
Josh and his lovely people said we were okay to give this away, so
This is great. I watched the Andersons video on that, where Chappers did a challenge. It was really, really great.
yeah, what is it, 9 tube screamers in one or something?
9 tube screamers in one.
Anyway, so if you are a current patron at the time that giveaway goes live, you will get an email into your inbox which will give you details of how to enter, which is usually answering a simple question.
But don't do complex questions. We can do simple questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. For many reasons.
So yes, thank you to patrons and hello to patrons and all of that. Anyway, where were we? Driving home from the experience day, I thought, you know what? We could do themed experience days.
Oh, that's a great idea.
We could do like one on Strats or one...
Oh, you don't mean dress up days. You mean...
You need to come as your favourite British heraldry character. Greetings, Daniel. I've come as Richard III.
Hear ye, hear ye! Very good.
Yeah. Yeah, that could get pretty dark pretty quickly, couldn't it? Okay, while we're on the housekeeping, let's talk about That Pedal Shop, thatpedalshop.com. If you're in the US, you can buy pedals and stuff there. This week, I do believe amps are getting turned on. So if you're in the US and you want to buy amps,
Oh, wow.
they will be available from thatpedalshop.com. A couple of little brands like Fender and Marshall.
How awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Also, to our Canadian friends, That Pedal Shop does ship to Canada. So if you're in Canada, you have to do all the usual import stuff, which is you'll be aware of.
Canada.
But they do ship to Canada.
Have you been to Canada?
I haven't. I really want to go
When are we going?
soon. Now that things are easier with travelation.
Yes.
Anyway, enough of that. The final thing is we want to say thanks to Brian Carpenter. A few weeks ago, Brian was in the VCQ and he asked us, of all people in the world, for some advice on what he should do. He was playing a gig with his daughter at their school, and he didn't know whether to play electric or acoustic and the best way to go about it. Anyway, Brian sent us this blinking amazing email saying that he'd done it in front of 200 students and teachers and they'd had a great time. And he really enjoyed it. They did a 2-minute version of I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For.
Fantastic.
But from Sing 2, not Bono and the Edge, which must be a kid's movie, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And
it's a perfect song for a pedal show.
Yeah.
It's 500 shows in, we're still looking.
Good job I wasn't in the audience. I'd have gone C flat. The chord you can't find. Anyway. So well done, Brian, and well done to your daughter. That's we had a little tear in our eye reading that, actually.
Yeah, it was amazing, mate. So yeah, congrats, that's so great.
Just to finish that off, you can sometimes, and this will bring us nicely to this week's comments. You can sometimes, if you get buried in our comments section, you can come away feeling a little bit glum. So it's nice to feel some actual love and harmony and peace out there of people having a positive experience.
It's very rare to come away feeling glum in our comment section.
It's rare.
Our guys are you lovely people out there are just lovely.
If I start thinking about amp modelling, our comment section will get quite aggressive quite quickly. Because we just don't know what we're doing. Anyway, let's move on. So, who are we saying hello to this week then, Danny boy?
Right, roll call. So we've got White Rhino says, come to Winnipeg. That would be fantastic.
That was actually the plan. For obvious, well, maybe not obvious to those of you. Our dear chum Joey Landreth lives in Winnipeg, and that would have been the idea, to go there and see he and his bros.
Yes, wonderful. Paul Norman, hello from the Lake District.
Oh, hello to the Lake District.
Lovely. Marky Effects, greetings from Clearwater, FL. I'm assuming that's Florida. G Barge, San Francisco Bay, says, hey.
Hello, G.
Back to you, G.
Hello. Guitar Guy 88 is on. James Blessed is on.
West Chilton is on.
Justin Baylog. Hey, Justin.
Buddy Mercury. It's my birthday. I just spent way too much on pedals. Never spend too much on pedals, buddy. Happy birthday, mate.
Adam D. Albuquerque.
BV Ninja. Hey, bud. Thank you so much for doing what you do. We appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Everyone say thanks to BB Ninja for being in that chat and chivvying it up and doing all the stuff that me and Dan forget to do.
Indeed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shenanigan is hilarious, apparently, from Guitar Not Bullini. Why not Shenanigan again?
Were they a 70s show band?
The Shenanigan again.
Shenanigan again.
Waddy Waddy.
Yeah. I always feel like that.
Boy.
I don't know about you, but all our footwear is aligned at the bottom of the stairs.
Right.
And it's quite often shoe oddy oddy. That's a bit lame, actually, wasn't it?
I like it.
That was a bit lame.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm into dad jokes. Gordon Rankin's on. Hey, Gordon.
Septic, or indeed skeptic, they are two very different things. One is reasonably healthy, the other not very healthy at all. He says, hi there, reverb before or after cab?
So I'm assuming what you're talking about is miking the cab and then putting reverb post. And if you're in a studio, that's fantastic. Very difficult to do that live, but not impossible.
Especially if you have a friendly sound engineer.
Yeah.
You can say, soak me,
baby,
in plate.
Yes, you could do that. I mean, for
At which point a bit of earthenware hits your head and it's like, that's not wet at all. Yeah, anyway.
It was hard though. So, yeah, I would say. I mean, it depends. If you're getting all your gain from your amp and your speaker absolutely cranked, then it's going to be really hard to get the detail from reverb in that anyway. However, if you've got headroom in your cab, bit of reverb in there, it sounds spectacular. Just depends on the way you're running your amplifier. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the not very helpful at all answer is try both and see which you prefer. I always think that, I'll forever be on some YouTube channels or whatever trying to answer a question. It's like, you know what, if I just go and plug it in and have a listen, I could probably make a decision for myself and learn lots of things.
Always the best thing to do.
I bet
no substitute for getting your hands dirty. Especially when you're trying to soak yourself in plates.
Yeah. Right, let's get into the Le Chat then.
Le Chat.
Which will be confusing for all of those of you in France or indeed anyone in Canada who speaks French or anywhere else in the world who speaks French.
Oh. Camembert. I'm sure I told you this story. When I was in grade 8 school, we had French.
What's grade 8? How old are you when you were in grade
1st
8?
year of high school.
11, 12.
13, I think you were. And the teacher said, does anyone here speak French? And some guy put his hand up, says yes. Yo play. And we all thought that was hilarious. And I still remember it to this day.
Is it Swiss that you're playing? Maybe?
No, it's maybe it was only in Australia, but it was a yogurt that said it's French for yogurt. Yeah, that was the ad. That was the campaign in Australia. Huh. It's French for yogurt. Anyone here speak French? Yes, miss. Yo play.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's the world's largest franchise brand of yogurt.
Is it?
Yeah. Jointly owned by American food conglomerate and a French dairy cooperative.
Very good.
Wonder how cooperative they are. Andreas Johansson. Hello, Andreas.
Hello, Andreas.
First onto the platform this week. Thank you for your generosity, Andreas. He says, leg ends. I'm looking for a fuzz that can do the Eric Johnson thing.
Right.
It needs to be smaller than a regular fuzz face and work with a dirty amp. Thank you.
Welcome to everyone's quest. I guess the first thing is...
the amp he runs it into is dirty, so you've got no problem there.
No. But also... there's so much more about the Eric Johnson thing than just the fuzz face. I mean, we've got a signature Eric Johnson fuzz face that doesn't do the Eric Johnson thing. It might do if you had a specific setup. What I'm saying is, with that fuzz plugged into our gear, doesn't do it.
Yeah, I think if you had a plexi and it was pretty pumping and some other things, I don't know what else EJ uses in his fuzz chain. I don't know if there are other pedals that are on when the fuzz is on, so I don't know that. Sorry, there must be a rig tour where he explains that. However, what I do know about Eric Johnson's fuzz face is that it is silicon, and it is slightly more voltage starved than a Jimmy fuzz face. He likes it spittier, slightly spittier,
right?
Which in isolation might sound kind of... so, sorry, to explain that a bit more, the bias knob on a fuzz pedal controls how much voltage is going to the transistors, right?
Correct. The point at which the gate opens.
Yeah. So if you don't give it very much and you turn the bias knob down, as it were, what you get is a very spitty fuzz that's kind of gated. If you want to hear a bit of that, watch Friday's video when we look at the NRG effects Mauler. So what I would say is it might be worth looking for a fuzz that's got a gate, a bias control, because then you'll be able to dial that into how much you like it.
Yeah.
Now, in EJ's case, it's then going into a crank Marshall, which is a whole other world.
Whole other world.
It's such a weird... I've been lucky enough to stand on stage next to that while he's doing it, or at least just to the side of the stage while he's doing it. And it is so bizarre to go from that absolutely sparkly, clean Fender Deluxe type clean thing that he does
to the... yeah.
But again, if you try to play down on the low strings with that, it would... But if you're up here, dusty end on the thin ones...
No money up there.
No money up there. Yeah, the only people who make money up there are guitar teachers, Dan. There's loads of money up there, by the way. So he's not really invoking the woof of the bottom strings quite so much. What he's doing is getting all that chunk and massiveness added to his top strings.
That's interesting. So he doesn't generally when he's playing with fuzz, he's up the top.
I wouldn't want to commit to that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to commit to that because I'm sure he does do stuff down the bottom as well. But
Yeah. I mean, I saw him in Anaheim. I think last time we were there, he did a gig. I mean, it was absolutely extraordinary. I'd never seen him play before, and I met him afterwards. What a sweetheart.
Yeah.
His playing was so, on fire, absolutely banging. But I was confused by the fuzz face sound because everything else was crisp, and then the fuzz came on. It was like, it was just all this. For me, stood out the front. It was like, it sounded cool,
too woofy.
but it was really woofy.
Yeah. Okay, so you're in Sweden. If you were in the US, I would say get an Analog Man Sunface BC183 with the bias control and never look back, because that'll do everything you want it to do. If you can find one of those in Sweden, do exactly that. If that's a hassle to Sweden for whatever reason, I mean, mic ships all over the world, so it shouldn't be a hassle to Sweden. But if it is a hassle to Sweden, I'm sure there are plenty of really good boutique fuzz builders that will do that for sensible money. Like we say, go for something silicon.
Something with bias control on there.
Yeah.
And that bias control gives you maximum flexibility depending on the rig you're using.
Yeah, and don't spend hours worrying about whether it's a BC183 or a BC108 or one of those CV7, whatever they are. You can fall down a rabbit hole pretty quickly with all that. Just go for a decent classic silicon fuzz face with a bias control. You should be able to dial that in.
Okay. BV just texted to say, check out the super chats.
We're running hot, are we, Dan?
We're running hot.
Sometimes I feel my heart running hot. They don't realize I'm so...
Very good. Very good. Oh, well. Bilal Bura, hi from Istanbul, Turkey. Nice.
Thanks, BB. I think we'll let it go for just a little while longer. Although, having said that, we have managed to answer one question so far, Dan.
Indeed.
Let us speed up. Wim Jacobs.
As opposed to Wim Hof.
Have you finished watching it?
No.
It's really good.
It
gets better.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it really does. It really does get better. Yeah, very interesting insight into the individuals who are on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, quite moving actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for them.
Hi DNM, says Wim Jacobs.
From his freezing cold shower.
You still doing that?
Yeah. I think that's why I got sick.
My pedals go into a Yamaha THR10 too. I love it. But I tried a friend's Fender amp. I found lots more to be had from my super fat mod into Prince of Tone. Can a UAFX Dream machine, or Dream I think it's called actually, that was my mistake, apologies. UAFX Dream between board and the THR10 give me more at bedroom volume? Greetings from Belgium.
Hi. So the first response would be no. It's not an issue with the THR10 or whether you're using the Dream or not. It's a headroom issue.
Volume and headroom.
You can't really compare a Fender Twin with the THR10 because you're getting the experiences are so vastly different. I've got a THR10 and I think they're amazing things.
He doesn't say what Fender amp it is, just to be clear. But
oh, okay. I thought it said Fender Twin. Anyway, it's sticking a Dream between your pedal board and a THR10, unless you're coming out of the THR10 and going into like bypassing everything else in the Yamaha, you're digitizing and then digitizing again. It's not going to help. However, if you were able to come out of the Dream and go into a small powered monitor or something, you might find that works better.
Yeah, I have nothing to add.
Yeah. But good luck with that. It's a challenge, and man, bedroom tones are something that we it always comes up, and it's a really interesting thing. And I think it's something that we need to plan and research properly and do a proper show on, because
I don't want us to do it unless we've got other people in the room who live in that world.
Sure.
One of the things that's really interesting about the experience days is we do a little tour, we show everyone around, and we end up in here and we go, right, this is what happens on that pedal show. Here's some earplugs if you're sensitive to that. This is what happens. And pretty much everyone who's been so far has been slightly surprised by that.
Yeah.
By the visceral nature of a loud guitar amp, because, not everyone gets to play loud all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we go through the day, we plug people in and play loud, and we start off really sensible, because if you're not used to it, it's a really uncomfortable, unpleasant experience, or can be.
Yeah.
But then we ease up gently, and usually by about 95 or 98 dB, everyone's grinning from ear to ear and feeling it in their guts and remembering what rock and roll guitar is about.
Yep. And they leave the room sort of vibrating ever so slightly.
And I think the point is, where Dan and I, and maybe loads of you watching this, are completely used to that, there are a tremendous number of people who are not used to that. And I think if we were going to make the show, I think capturing that reaction from genuine humans who...
Okay, that's a great
who
idea.
don't do it all the time
Yeah,
would make for a more meaningful experience in terms of the video.
Sure.
Because for us to sit here and go, meh, wish it was louder, I don't think that's very helpful to anyone, is it?
No, but things like the wet dry with two small amps and stuff, feeling that space that it creates is really great. No, I think because it is a conundrum. How do you? I don't think it's possible.
No, I think the closest you can get, for me personally, is a really decent set of open back headphones.
Right.
Room reverb simulation.
Okay.
And actually the UAFX pedals are really good for that, and there are other things that have room reverb simulation. Open back headphones, relatively important because they have a bit of air and a bit of breathe, whereas the closed back ones can be quite cloying in terms of the sounds you want to be hearing.
Right.
And have it relatively loud in your ears.
Sure.
In a safe manner. No one wants to. I think there's more hearing damage done with flipping earphones than there ever will be with loud amps.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's a more satisfying experience than trying to get a feeling of bigness out of an amp.
Yeah.
At least if it's in your ears and you can turn it up a bit,
Yeah.
you start to feel it a bit more, I think.
Yeah.
You feel a bit more of the dynamic.
Yeah. I'll still make the case for having an amp in a room as loud as you can get it feasibly. I have my J20 in my little room downstairs, and I have it like fully attenuated, and then the preamp sort of almost cranked, and it's loud, but I can do it for half an hour in the middle of the day without creating too much panic, and I still get that sense of, because it's in a small room, there's something happening at that sound pressure level in the smaller room. It's like Joe Bonamassa was saying.
Yeah.
He can do amazing things with a Pro Junior in a bathroom, but on the Albert Hall he needs to hit 116 dB. I think there are things that you can do in a small space to get a bit of that thing going. But yeah, interesting anyway.
Yeah. It's I'd like to make that video. I'm going to turn the super chats off because we've got a lot to get through, and we've so far managed to dance around answering 2 questions. So if you've super chatted to this point, we will answer you. I understand the implications of this action, Daniel.
Good. I don't, but that's okay. That's why I have you.
I can't have you. Actually, this Friday's video is we've revisited the amp in a box discussion. Dan and I are a bit grumpy about pedals that call themselves amps in boxes. And just, we don't spend the video being grumpy. We spend the video actually having a really nice time.
It was lovely.
Getting some good tones, I think.
Yeah. But you need to watch until the end because it goes from the sublime to the absolute ridiculous Yeah. I actually think that's some of the best sounds we've captured on the show.
We start off by saying, right, we're just going to talk about pedals. We're not going to crank any amps today. And at the end, I'm like, no. We can't talk about all this without doing it. So we just cranked the deluxe reverb in our Tweed Bassman thing. And yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Wonderful.
Ran's there. Hello, Ran.
Hey, Ran.
He says, top of the evening, ledge margins. Fabulous show on Friday. Nothing like seeing either of you becoming giddy with the discovery of a favourite new noise. And he says, I love practising with a looper, a Boss RC10R, last in the chain, but often playing over it sounds like the loop is obliterated until I stop playing. Suggestions?
I know what you mean, because if you, especially start layering things on top of each other, if what you want to do is, sort of jam over what you're doing, don't be afraid to keep the loop simple. And actually, I used to use a looper all the time when I was playing in the duo in Bipolar Bears with Doug, and I found that if I try to do a big clever thing and build up these layers, it all did get a bit confusing.
Yeah.
But if you just keep it really simple, and I think that's what loopers, the Boss stuff, because what was I using, the RC2 or something, like an early one, and at the simple stuff, man, it sounded great. It was super fun.
It always just reminds me of the gag from years ago. I can't see it up there. The RC Booster.
The RC10, the RC, yeah.
It's more than the sum of its parts, isn't it? It's a bit like when you play in a band and having the confidence to just let the bass player and drummer hold the groove while you do virtually nothing.
Yeah.
And sing if you're going to sing.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's a bit like that with a loop. So what you could do is you could set yourself a challenge. I hope you've watched many of Danish Pete's loops, because he's totally brilliant at it.
Brilliant.
On the Andersons channel.
Yeah.
He's superb at all that stuff. And his sense of time and his understanding of how parts fit together is just spectacularly good. So what you could do is set yourself a little challenge to make your loop, the first loop you put down, something that you won't play over with your second part. So it's a call and answer thing. So you might do a ba 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 ba, and then once that loop's going, your challenge is to play in the spaces of the ba ba ow ba ba do 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 ba, and that might enable you to start to understand how the two things can mesh together.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely fair. Pay attention to what the loop's going into too as well. If you're going into an amp that's limiting, then less is more, absolutely. But generally, if you keep it simple, then it's okay to have space in a loop. It really is. Yeah.
That's what creates the breathing point, isn't it?
Yep.
And final, just on looping, actually, I meant to send you a text actually, but I hadn't looked at my phone all weekend, so I didn't want to start now. And Ed Sheeran was on something that...
Oh man, he keeps calling.
Radio 1 had something on over the weekend.
Right. Big weekend, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Right,
I don't know.
okay.
Load of kids in the field. Listening to music I don't understand. No, actually, it was really good. I watched pretty much most of it, and I bow down to Ed Sheeran. The guy is a flipping genius.
He's a force. He absolutely is, and what he does with Looper,
he is just
amazing.
So spectacularly good. Okay, festival crowd. Here's a lad with a tiny guitar and a looper. He's going to hold your attention, have you singing along, and have you utterly mesmerised for a whole set.
Yeah.
It's like, are you on crack?
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's good on you, Ed Sheeran. Thank you for being in the world.
Yeah, well
is
done.
all I want to say about that.
Tim Lurch is on. Oh, how awesome.
Hello, Tim.
Viewers will know that I had a guitar lesson off Tim a couple of weeks ago, which was wonderful. Thanks for coming on, mate. Nice to see you. And Tim says loopers will tell you right away if your time feel isn't good. I don't need looper for that. I've got Mick.
It's weird. I'm doing some rehearsing at the moment. I've got a gig next Friday. Actually, if you're in the southwest of England and you're around Lyme Regis on Friday, there's a few bands playing on the seafront there. I'm on at 4 o'clock. Please get there earlier to watch the other bands as well.
Yeah.
If you're going to go Friday. And it's been a little while since I've done trio gig.
Right.
Actually, it's trio plus keys. So it's not really a trio at all.
No.
What I meant was not a 2-guitar gig.
Sure.
Is
Yeah,
what I
right. Okay.
meant.
Right.
Excuse me. Yeah, my time's all over the place, Dan.
No, it's not.
I used to be pretty on.
I'll
actually.
stop it.
I used to be pretty on. No, I'm not moaning. I'm just saying without doing it all the time.
Yeah, I guess
You've
you
gotta
do get a bit rusty,
stay
but you
fit.
need to stay gig fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So, what were you talking about? Timing. Yeah.
Timing. Yeah.
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 What were we talking about? Swizz871 says, "Hey gents, any tips on how to pick from the multitude of ABY pedals available? And separately, I'm looking for a different sounding chorus to my Analog Man by chorus for some variety. Do you have any suggestions?"
On the ABY, my recommendation is if you want an ABY that's going to 2 separate amplifiers, you need on the B output, you really need to have it isolated and phase reversible so that you can not get earth loops between the 2 outputs, and be able to correct the phase because it's a 50-50 whether or not the amps are going to be in phase. So as long as they've got those 2, that's great. Then you're into things like, what sort of foot switches does it have? How much current does it draw? Blah, blah, blah. If, however, you need something sort of simpler than that, and you just want to, you're switching between a couple of different lines on your board, and that ends up back at a summing amp before it heads off, then you can get away with a bit more. Yeah.
Lots of people do an ABY switcher. Radial, where are you, S-Wiz? Australia. Don't know who ships into Australia at sensible prices. Radial
are great.
make a great one called the Big Shot ABY.
Yep.
Dan won't say it, but the Gig Rig AB Baby is utterly fantastic because it does everything he just said, and it's tiny.
Oh, thank you, mate. Out of stock at the moment. It's yeah, but back in stock soon.
Yeah. Who else makes one? Layla will make one for sure.
Great.
But yeah, as long as it's got what he just said, phase reversible, isolated output, you'll be grand.
Yeah. Thank you, Zachary Manzanetti.
Hopefully people in the comments will be giving you recommendations.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff out there.
Yeah,
Lots of great stuff
I always
out there.
recommend Radial stuff.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, it's great.
Peter makes amazing stuff.
He does.
Chorus. Right, so Analog Man by chorus, very, very analog chorus.
I love it. It's
Isn't it?
beautiful.
It's
Yep.
mad. Here's my suggestion.
Yeah. I had a play with this a couple of weeks ago. TC Electronic have done an amazing job with this pedal. It's all analog. It's only the difference between that and the original is that's easier to power. But the circuit's the same. They've done a fantastic job.
Stereo chorus flanger.
Yeah.
What about a more modern sounding one, Dan? What about like a...
You want a modern sounding chorus? You want the free the tone.
Yeah, I was trying not to recommend that because it's quite spenny.
Okay.
But the... where is it? It's here somewhere.
What you looking for?
The free the tone chorus. There it is.
For a modern chorus, that's the best chorus I've heard. It's expensive, but it's... So how many different lines do you have in there? Is it 2 or 3?
The pedal we were just talking about for those on the podcast is the TC Electronic Stereo Chorus Flanger, the new one.
Yep, the reissue.
Yeah, this is the Free the Tone Tri-Avatar multi-dimensional chorus.
Yep. And you've got 2 different delay lines on there that you can modulate separately. It's just wonderful, wonderful thing. So all the tones from Dimension C to your standard thick, lush chorus, you can get from that thing. Even vibey tones are in there. It's really, really wonderful.
That's what I was going to say. If you're used to the analog chorus sound at the moment, a really lovely, sort of broadly C1 and C2 derived tones you're talking about. I think the Dimension D and C and tri-chorus tones are a great alternative to that.
Yep. Lest we forget the awesome Julia from Walrus Audio.
Oh, that's really lovely.
That is super, super duper. Look at that thing. So
there we go.
What I love about the Julia is that you get your rate and depth, but you also get these two controls called lag, and you got the DCV, which goes from direct to vibrato. So it's a mixer here.
Yeah.
So you mix the modulation in, which is what chorus does, but the lag lets you control the delay time. So with a less lag, you get almost flanger type sounds. It's really fantastic. And choice from two different waveforms as well. Waveforms in chorus are everything. Apart from everything else, it's everything. Waveforms in chorus are everything. Yeah. If you have a listen to the waveform in a C1, it's almost random. It's so asymmetrical.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not a smooth waveform.
Nothing like a sine wave.
All over the shop.
John Cooper says the Jan Ripley Fall is a great phaser and chorus. Yes, it is. We totally agree. The chorus side is pretty analogy, C1 derived kind of sounding chorus, but then you can add the phaser onto that, which is wonderful. Who else is saying? Yeah. VS Audio Alchemy Mark II chorus, says BV Ninja.
Yep.
Yeah.
Diamond Halo chorus. I don't know what's going on with Diamond. Apparently they're coming back.
They're in the midst of being resurged, aren't they?
But Diamond Halo chorus is awesome, which is this one.
Yeah.
Check that out. 24 volt.
You need to stand in front of the camera, Daniel, and hide me. There you go.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Bit more light. There you go.
Bit more
There you go. We're learning about light as we go.
It's only taken 5 years.
Taking.
Touche, good sir. Touche. Oh boy.
Michael Gilberto. Hello, Michael. He says, hello, terminations of bipedal locomotion. I will be in London for a few days next week. Drinks on me if you happen to be in the big city. Well, that's very kind of you.
That's very kind.
Hope you have a lovely time. I try not to go there if I can, if I can avoid it. But hope you have a lovely time, whatever you're doing.
I've got to head back out. I'm building a rig for Phil Manzanera at the moment for the Roxy Music reunion.
Yeah.
And we're filming the whole thing. But boy, oh boy, it's super interesting. Get the Firebirds out.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Awesome.
That's cool. That's
very
really cool. Look at the drug. Was that them?
Yeah, that's the drug.
Wastel 10 is on. Hello guys, he says, new Yamaha Revstar, should I have P90s or humbuckers?
I'm going to say P90s.
Me too.
Yeah. I actually think the humbuckers sound really good, but boy, their P90s sound good. And I think with that sort of solid body guitar, P90s work.
Yeah.
If you've got, let's say something like a 335 that's really open and you get some really low wind paths in there, they're awesome. I find that unless I want Les Pauly type tones from a solid body like that, I'm always going to prefer P90s.
Yeah, a bit more light sounding probably.
Yeah.
I have a bit of a preconception stroke bias against mid-price solid body guitars with humbuckers because they just seem to always sound dark to me.
Well, they're so overwound because they want them to be loud.
Yeah.
Because you plug them into a distortion thing, and they're going to push it, and they're going to sound honky, and you pick that up in a guitar shop, you go,
Yeah.
this sounds great.
I think it may well be unfounded and not true at all. It's just based on the experience of playing quite a few over the years at various magazines I've worked on. I rather suspect the Revstar stuff is good because Yamaha is good.
Yeah.
And it was always good.
Man, yeah. I've always loved Yamaha stuff.
Yeah.
So, and also, when you look at the tones that, Chris Buck could get amazing tones out of anything. However, he gets flippin' awesome tones out of those guitars.
Yeah,
but my favourite tone of his is his P90.
It's the
loaded.
P90 one, yeah. You probably have a hankering one way or the other. Go with that hankering. Go with what your gut's telling you. Don't use your head. Head always gives you the wrong answer. Always.
P90s.
Zachary Manzanetti. Hello, Zachary.
Hello, Zachary.
Toenails of tone, he says. On the 9th of May VCQ, Dan said it's important to have a tone buddy, someone to work with. For many of us, that's you two.
We're going to do a show on that because it is on your journey with all this stuff, having someone who's enthusiastic and you're able to converse with about this stuff, it makes all the difference and can lead you down some really interesting paths that you wouldn't have thought of anyway, otherwise, I should say.
Yeah. It's one of the hardest things is just getting over any sort of inhibition you might have and a bit of embarrassment about you don't want to play in front of somebody, or you might think something's too simple to ask the question, or once you get over all of that stuff and it's just a discussion, the learning amplifies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Massively. Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that, Zachary.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
That's very kind.
Oh, and so I stopped. Says Revstars are chambered. Yes, they are. Yes. Interesting.
Yeah, that would help. I hope you're doing all right, Tony, by the way. Jeroen, and I apologise for this, Jeroen Verbeek has super chatted, but we have no questions, so we'll keep an eye out for that.
We're 3 people away from our 1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, we've got 997 at the moment.
There are 1,000 people with nothing to do on a Monday night, but hang out with these idiots.
We've got 997, nearly 1,000.
Amazing.
Let's be we're listening to this amazing podcast at the moment with Sam Harris and Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
Man. And, Sam Harris is, he's saying how he's got this...
He's a psychologist?
He's a neuroscientist.
Yeah.
Just really, really interesting. Yeah. I'm a big Ricky Gervais fan anyway, and just hearing the conversation between these two is But anyway, the one I was listening to today, they were talking about lying and when it's okay and when it's not.
Right.
And I know this is a massive tangent, but
that's unusual for this show.
He's saying that his kids, they never told them that Santa was real.
Whose
right?
kids?
Sam Harris's children.
Right.
Because Ricky doesn't have kids, doesn't want kids.
Oh, that explains a lot.
But Sam Harris was saying, well, we always explain to our kids that, Santa was a part of the pageantry of Christmas, but wasn't the real figure. And he said there are studies done that when children were told that Santa wasn't real, they were so absolutely broken up. And I've had the experience with my daughter.
Really?
And it changed our relationship from that moment. Yeah. Had to go and she was just sobbing in the car. She wouldn't leave the car.
Ergo, you shouldn't lie to your children. Is that?
It's just no. It's like
you should just lie in a more elaborate manner.
Yeah, but there's Anyway, I don't know how I got there.
It's an interesting observation because I think you could extrapolate that into all sorts of areas of life.
Dude, the conversation does that.
Where we
it's
lie to
amazing.
Our children about things. Anyway,
it's amazing.
Let's move along. I watched his latest stand-up last night.
For 1 minute.
It's the roughest thing I've ever watched.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm interested in things that explore where the line is.
Right.
I love it, and I think it's really important that we do that as a people I think he overstepped it significantly in that video.
All right.
Yeah, and you've got to do it, haven't you? Because then that tells you where the line is.
Indeed.
But yeah, I did almost poo myself laughing as well. Right then.
999. One more to go. Come on.
Anyway, Jerome Verbeek wants to know, I'm looking for an overdrive that loses all the hair on the note just by softening my pick attack. I tried a Timmy, a BD2, a BB preamp and a Gladio. They always feel too engaged. What to do?
1K people. Sorry, we just haven't hit it for a little while. So yeah.
Dan cares about numbers.
No, I find them interesting.
Yeah.
I find them interesting. It's just, yeah. Anyway. Okay. Have you tried fuzz? What you're looking for is something that's super dynamic. So fuzzers can be really good. The other thing, have you tried the Honeybee Overdrive from Our Mate with the Flowery Pants?
It's not called Honeybee.
No, what's it called?
You mean the Mate with the Flowery Pants, Robin Trousers?
No. What's his name?
Harry.
Harry.
From Mad Professor.
From Mad Professor.
Sweet Honey Overdrive? Amber Overdrive? Sweet Honey?
Yeah, something. I was sure it was a honey.
Where did you hear it?
Yeah, there it is. That was it.
Sweet Honey?
The Sweet Honey. The Sweet Honey. Right.
There you go.
It had honey in it. I was pretty close.
Yeah.
Now, what Harry does, which I love, the way he designs his overdrives, it's all about dynamics, and they have a relatively low input impedance, but it does the same thing that a fuzz does, as in it's completely reliant on the circuit that's connected to the input of it, and they are so flippin' dynamic. I think one of those is worth having a look at. If the standard fare of things from blues drivers to ODR ones and that sort of thing, if you're not finding it there, I think you need to look at something that's a little bit more specialized, a bit lower input impedance. So the what's it called? Sweet Honey from Mad Professor's great. Or try some fuzzers. If you find something that will fulfill your gain requirements with a fuzz, then they are super dynamic.
The other way to do it, which is the unfortunately difficult way, is if your overdrive is pushing the amp into overdrive. So you've got the amp set right on the edge. The overdrive will push the amp into quite a heavy distortion or heavy overdrive. If you roll the volume back, you'll go back to almost clean if you've got a here we go, transparent sounding overdrive.
Nice.
I did rather check out the ZVEX 59 sound that's on the show this week.
Oh yeah, that's really cool.
Lincoln liked that in a big way.
Yeah. Man, all of his stuff is so good.
Yeah. What you don't want is a very heavy overdrive that's changing the tone massively. I think that's what we're hearing in what you're saying. So you might want to veer more towards boosts, JFET kind of stuff, transistory stuff maybe. If you go for heavy op amp and heavy clipping and loads of overdrive, it might clean up, but it's always going to sound engaged, because the other thing when you say it sounds engaged is it's going to change the tone a lot as well.
Yeah.
And with sort of a traditional overdrive pedal, and by that what do we mean? Boss SD1, Ibanez Tube Screamer, Blues Driver, the classic overdrive pedals, they always do have quite a fundamental EQ shift.
Yeah, that's right.
So something more transparent sounding.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, best of luck. Best of luck.
Yeah, indeed, best of luck. Guitar Guy 88. Thanks to the Tubey show you did, I bought a 94 tube driver pedal this week.
Yeah, you did. Come on.
Is it weird I prefer it with the drive set to 1? Any more seems too much.
No, not at all, because they do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gain. There's a lot of limiting in there. Absolutely, the lower gain regions of the pedal sound amazing, especially if you're hitting it with humbuckers or something with a bit more output.
Yeah. Try the EQ pots down really low as well.
Yeah.
because obviously the more EQ you have, I don't know where the EQ is in the chain, but it will add gain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Nice.
good.
Congratulations. James Blessed. Hello, James. You are joining us for an experience there, I believe, at some point. Anyway, he says, I have a telly, a Fender Special Run American Performer for a few months, but I'm not completely in love with it. I'm thinking of trading it in for a Les Paul. I've never played one. What are your thoughts?
You have to play it.
I just need to take the carving knife out of Dan's heart first.
Well, look, horses for courses, right?
Yeah. There's a few things that you might not be in love with. One is the sound. And there's a few things you could try on the telly to, if it sounds kind of, if you're new to tellies and you're not sure how to drive them, they can sound a bit brash. And one great way to get around that is to go onto the bridge pickup, just roll that volume tone pot back a bit, and engage some reasonably heavy overdrive, and you'll have a lovely time.
Indeed.
And there are a few guitars that sound any better than that doing anything, in my opinion.
I agree.
It's just perfect for that sort of thing. But if what you like is a sort of thicker core tone, i.e. if you play a bit cleaner and you just find the telly a bit wiry, because the other thing a telly has is absolutely massive dynamic range. The amount of, I know this, having done years of TPS audio production, Dan's got an extra 10 dB just by hitting the guitar a bit harder, and that doesn't happen in a Les Paul.
No, because they're already with the humbuckers.
Yeah. They
reach their limit so much quicker.
Yeah.
They do have the, on a Strat, for example, like a race car, right? Imagine that you've got two cars, and one's got really lovely springy shock absorbers, and one is was just glued onto the side, and one's going to feel every little bump. The other one's going to give you a nicer ride, and the springs and the Strat will give you that.
Yeah.
Whereas the telly, that's why the transients are so, they're so brutal.
Yeah. It might be why we're just going to spend loads of money on a really nice analog compressor.
Awesome.
The other thing is ergonomics, right? So I don't know if you play predominantly sitting down or stooding up. I've always said for years I don't like Les Pauls because they do that.
Yeah.
Whereas the Strat sits over there a bit, and so does a telly, and
so does an SG.
Yeah, because the handle is further over there.
Handle.
You don't get quite so much body heaviness, not least because the bodies tend not to be heavy. So this one's all right because it doesn't weigh very much. But on the Strap, this guitar is perfect. I love playing this guitar stood up, but sat down. Same with my PRS DGT. I find it a struggle, and you might be a little bit confused about whether it's an ergonomic or a sonic problem that you're having, because if you're not comfortable holding the thing and playing it, that's going to manifest in all kinds of different ways. You're just not at ease.
Yep.
So I would say on a Les Paul, look out for that. Look out for that. I mean, if you play on this leg, some people do apparently. I mean, that's just wrong.
If anyone listening to the podcast, Mick is talking about
the way classical guitarists play.
Yeah.
I flipping love this guitar.
It's amazing. I'm so pleased you got it. My Les Paul isn't pleased, but I'm pleased for you. My Lester didn't want to come in today. He needed some time. He's still dealing with it.
There's two things I want to do to your Lester.
Okay.
Make sure it's got 50s wiring.
Right.
And change those Grovers.
Oh, okay. Put these things back on. Okay. All right, that's a great idea. All right, there you go.
Anyway,
beep, squeak. Squee-doo.
Yeah, so just have a think about whether it's tonal or ergonomic, and then, but trying to be general about Les Paul guitar is so tough, because whether you're talking about a Les Paul alike guitar by another manufacturer, whether you're talking about a Epiphone version, an American standard type version, or a custom shop, they are so different.
Yeah,
and the only
indeed.
thing that is the same is the shape.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi Pling, he says, hey Dan, how are you going with your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training? Yeah, okay. I've had a couple of injuries that's kept me off the mats for a little while. But, you know, I still love it. It's training when you hit 50 is a different thing. So I'm now doing one day on and then I'll do the gym the other day. But yeah, I'm not as resilient as I once was, and injuries take flipping forever to heal, and it's very frustrating.
Catherine and I were listing the things that are better when you're old.
It's a short list.
It was. We moved on to something else quite quickly.
Oh man.
Yeah, good luck, James.
Yeah, good luck, mate.
Yeah, just play the old telly a little bit and see if you can find a way in which you might bond with it. But yeah,
there are tellies and there are tellies.
There are
as well. You know,
there are. Maybe you could think about something completely different. So rather than go from one solid body single cut electric guitar to another, you could look at something like a semi-hollow body.
Yep.
So get an Epiphone Dot or a 335
or a Jazzmaster.
Yeah. Just go out there, get something completely Jazzmaster.
Yeah.
Get a Jazzmaster.
Get a Jazzmaster.
There you go.
Yep.
Done. Justin Baylog. Hello, Justin.
Hey, mate.
He said, I went to a gig. I saw a D&M drive on the board. Asked if he was a fan of TPS. Obviously, the answer was yes.
Ah.
Thank you. He invited me to a blues jam next weekend.
Oh, brilliant.
The legend of TPS continues.
Bringing the world together.
Thanks for the community.
Oh, mate, that's great.
Nice. Thank you so much for that, Justin. That's that's nice.
Mm.
Nice. Whit Anderson. Hello, Whit. Greetings from Hopewell, New Jersey. I loved both shows last week. No question today, just a thank you note.
Oh, bless you.
Pun
Cheers,
intended.
bud.
Cheers from Whit. Thanks, Whit.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks for your generosity. Jacob Bartelt is on. Hello,
hey, Jacob.
He says, this week I was the chiropractor, taking care of the bands at Bottle Rock.
Oh, wow.
Live music is back and amps still live. You should check out Greta Van Fleet and Marcus King if you haven't.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. They are. I'm telling you. They're out there.
They exist.
They absolutely do.
I don't know what to think about Greta Van Fleet, honestly. They're magic. I mean, they sound unbelievable, but they do sound like another band, don't they?
They do.
A little bit.
Yeah.
That's okay, isn't it?
And that's great.
Yeah.
Wear it on your sleeve, man.
I don't do anything original, so it's fine.
Yeah. Well, boy, there's a massive space for them to slip into. It's lovely. As in that sound that they've got.
Yeah.
No one's done that for a long time.
No. That's true.
For obvious reasons. But it's like, you know what? Check this out.
Have a bit of that. I do, on the subject of getting older, the one thing I have noticed recently, which I never used to do, is I've gone, oh, they've repackaged that.
Sure.
Something comes
they've
around.
Rebranded it.
Something comes around and you're like, oh, that was just what that was back then.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that happened when we were kids and our parents were going, oh, God, that's just what that was, repackaged. But I think I'm seeing it more definitely these days.
Right.
Like by design.
Oh, yeah.
Like people who look like people. I'll try and think of an example in a minute.
No, I know what you mean. I think when you start talking about corporations that look after artists and things like that, it's the easiest way, it's the simplest way for them to get their heads around point A to point B. If they can get an artist that looks a bit like someone or sounds a bit like someone.
And triggers a bit of
absolutely
memory. Yeah.
Sorry for my coughing, everyone. It's asthma. I have tested myself. I'm fine. But my asthma's been playing up this week.
It's pollen season here. Is that causing an issue? Or?
It is. I'm just going to put some water in this.
Okay.
2 seconds.
I'll entertain you. Zachary Manzanetti. Hi, Zachary. He says... this is a question for Dan, so we'll come back to that one. Mike2203. Hi, Mike. He says, I'm still having issues with my Squire Strat whammy bar. Do heavier strings help? It's strung with 9 to 42s. I wonder if these were too light. I had an astonishing experience on, I don't know when it was, one day last week. My friend Chris came up. Chris is guitar player. I ended up doing a gig with Chris. I went down to Weymouth and It
Oh,
was
yeah.
It was a thrown together thing, and in the band were Chris and Phil, and Chris and Phil do this show called The Story of the Guitar Heroes. And Chris is, well, they're both utterly amazing players. Chris came up, amazing player, and he brought his Strat. The reason he came up is he wanted to play some Strats and was kind of interested. He's done the Carl Verheyen thing.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not kidding you, right? He's put this sort of bits of Strat together. He wants to buy a transit van.
Right, great.
And I'm...
Sure.
If you're okay, we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
agree a
great.
price. This is transit van. Lovely sound of Strat.
It's the strattiest Strat there.
It is. He did this with his whammy bar, right? He went...
Right.
And it was perfectly in tune.
So how's he done that?
Well, he's done all the things we talked about.
Right. Yeah, yeah. All that stuff.
And then what Carl Verheyen does, Mike, try this. On the back here.
Here's less tension.
Where the spring claw is, I've never tried it
Right.
because I just don't believe it. So I am going to try it. You screw the bass side in a bit more.
Yeah. Well, that's when I went down to get my guitar done.
Yeah,
Like
Matt from Monty's.
Matt from Monty. He said the same thing, that he didn't believe it. And then he showed me that and was like, oh,
Cool. So you could try that as a last ditch, Mike. All the things we said before. Make sure all this is nicely lubricated. Make sure the bridge isn't screwed down too tight. And then the other thing to say is this tension needs to be adjusted so that you don't have to lean on that bar.
right,
It should be not too difficult to push it down.
right. What song is that?
It's D'Angelo, Feel Like Making Love.
Oh, okay.
If that's not too...
Feel like making love.
Lovely chords. Literally, it's in the outro, and there's a horn. Just plays it.
Awesome. Blank.
Blank. Yeah. Process of elimination, Mike. It's frustrating. Frustrating. I don't know if we said it last week, but when you tune up to a note, not down. If when you're tuning, you go past the note and it goes sharp, go down below and back up again. And that helps load the tuner a little bit. That might help as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, Zachary Manzanetti has a question for you, Daniel, which says, Dan,
Yes, mate.
TPS wet dry rig
Yes, mate.
with the cranked J and the matchless.
Yes, mate.
How do you deal with the dirty amp volume not lowering as much as the wet amp when the guitar volume rolls off? TPS has taught me why and what's going on, but I'm not sure how to fix it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I find that for my rig, I'm going into channel 2 of the matchless, the EF86 channel. And so while it has much more headroom than the J, which is cranked, it's not completely clean. If I hit it really hard, the matchless is still going to break up. So it's not like I've got one really dirty amp and one really clean amp. There's a balance there. And also, the J is dirty. Like if I hit really hard, it's dirty. But if I play softly, the J isn't that dirty. So it's not, they're not a million miles away. However, if I clean up, because it cleans up so beautifully with the volume of the guitar, the match is still so present in that sound. I'm not really suffering from the match just being too clean. And I think because the match just isn't completely clean, you know what I mean? If it was, I would need to have something along the lines of what we did with Ainsley, with a separate overdrive pedal hitting the matchless, which I do have sometimes. I'll have the, in some sounds, I've got the Page from Kingsley only hitting the matchless. And then that's great, you know, if I'm doing something really heavy and or, you know, a little bit heavy, I need the matchless to be a bit more on a par with what's going on with the J, then that's what I'll do. I'll send an overdrive pedal into just the matchless to dirty that up. But generally, if it's a cleaner sound, just having the volume off a little bit, it just sits beautifully. Yeah. So, long story short, it's not one being really dirty and one being really clean. They are more balanced than that. One is cleaner than the other.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's about enjoying the difference there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Rather than it being a problem.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Max Blauer wants to know if we have any plans to do any shows on active pickups. And a few people are replying saying, somebody replied here. He says, can't believe there's no TPS episode on active pickups. Buzz Crumhunger says, I would guess neither Dan nor Mick have ever owned any active pickups, but it's just a guess. I have. I've done it. I've been through it years ago.
Yeah, I owned them for about a week.
Yeah, I stayed with it for a little while. It's not our thing, and we don't love them. Therefore, it's probably not appropriate for us to talk about them. So here's the problem, right? But we don't love them. But lots of people do. Really do.
Like, listen to some of my favourite Gilmour sounds are with his EMGs.
Yeah, not mine aren't.
And so if we did a show saying, okay, we're going to explore active pickups, we're already sort of...
Be like chewing a metaphorical fist for an hour.
Yeah. And we won't show them in their best light.
No, because we don't understand it. You know, it's not about whether something sounds better or worse or... whether you can make it sound better or worse. It's the fact that me and he have been doing a specific thing or thereabouts for, a quarter of a century each at least.
Yeah.
More than that, in fact. 35 years in my case.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, me too.
Actually, more than that. Nearly 40 years. But, I mean, playing out probably ever since I was in my mid-teens. So that's a long time ago.
Yeah, indeed.
More than 30 years. And you just get to understand the way something is and mould around it, and it moulds around you, and you become one and the same thing. And then you're sort of able to talk about it with some sort of experience, if not necessarily knowledge. So to sort of... And this is the case for amp modelling as well, where it's not like we've never tried it, whether it's active pickups or amp modelling. Remember, I spent nearly 20 years as a journalist getting sent every new thing that came out, and being sent to the press conferences, and being sat there with the product specialists, and going through that whole thing of learning about that stuff and having to deal with it, and have just come to a point in life where you go, it's just not for me, and I cannot find a question
that answer
that has the answer. You're going to feel better about it after after we do that. So maybe
what is this noise?
Yeah. Maybe, again, I'd like this idea of this format of shows where we get, actual real...
experts.
Well, I was going to say humans.
Okay.
In and experience it together. Rather than me and you just wanting to, jump off a cliff.
I like that. That's a great idea. Yeah.
So, sorry, I got rather into it then. Clearly... endless guitar players have made active pickups sound flipping awesome.
Yep.
But we don't get it. They don't work with fuzz pedals. End of story for me. Yeah. So,
Well, they obviously can work with fuzz pedals, but they don't work with vintage Germanium fuzz pedals that have got a super low input impedance. They do not work with those.
Or silicon ones. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I'm not quite sure why I got off on that.
It's all right.
Right, Zachary Manzanetti again wants to know about neck shapes.
Yes.
So if you can't play a guitar or a neck shape for an extended period, how are you ever going to know if it's going to be a good fit for you? Especially for rarer shapes, such as some of the various V and C options offered by the Fender.
It's a really interesting question. And look, the only way to know is to try it. There's no theorizing or sort of trying to conceive a thing of whether you're going to like it or not. If there's a soft V or a hard C or a WV or whatever that is, people can explain it to you, and you can see all the diagrams in the world, but until you have it in your hand, you're just not going to know. If it's, I remember a friend of mine had a guitar, and it was a Mary Kay Strat.
Mm.
And he said,
white blonde with gold hardware.
There you go.
Is that what that looks like? Maple neck.
And he said it's got a lovely soft V neck on it. I'm like, oh, that sounds really interesting. I was looking for a Strat at the time. Thought, it sounds like fun. And he lent it to me for a gig, and I'm like, and I really tried hard. I thought, well, this feels really unusual, but I'm going to persevere with this as long as I could. And I made it through to, I think, the chorus of the song. And I'm like, drum solo, change guitars.
What didn't you like about it?
It just didn't sit in my bony fingers very well.
And when it was soft V, was that too much V or not enough V?
Too much V.
Too much V.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But saying that, I have played V, I'm like, oh, this feels nice, where the V comes up higher on the shoulder, and so it's a little bit flatter along here. I was like, oh, gee, that feels great. So, there are neck shapes and there are neck shapes. They're all
we both played one of the bizarrest shaped necks I think I've ever played at the Experience Day on Friday. Who was it? Toby, I think. Hello, Toby, if you're watching. He brought a really awesome 69 SG.
Ah, that thing was amazing.
Really, really great guitar. So when we talk about neck shapes, if you're not familiar with this kind of chat, hopefully you all are. But if you look down the neck like that shape under there, imagine it as a letter. If it's V, it's like that. If it's C, it's like that. If it's D, it's flatter and it has more shoulder. This particular SG was really deep.
Yeah.
So it had a lot of depth from the front of the fingerboard to the back of the neck. And then what then determines how the neck's going to feel? See, at this point, if it's got a lot of depth, it could be a D, a C, or a V.
Yeah.
What makes it a D or a C or a V is how the shoulders are, right? So not just about how deep it is, had almost no shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing.
It was and quite slim nut as well, and it just, it was great. I played it no worries, but it was just, I'd never felt a neck like that before.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So yeah, the question, who's asking this question? Zachary, apologies. The question, Zachary, is a good one. How are you ever going to know if you don't get chance? I think a lot of people who are used to more modern guitars can be scared of bigger necks.
Yeah.
I find the worst fatigue I've ever had in my left hand is with guitars with small necks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things that when you know, it's like, when I was shred-tastic in my youth, you could see why.
I just discovered where the wah-wah fell.
Oh my word. Oh, that's my goodness.
Awesome.
Oh man.
We were doing a show. We were filming a show on Friday, and Dan, out of the corner of his eye, catches the most expensive wah-wah pedal we own, a Roger Mayer Bel Air wah, which we should plug in actually, leapt off the top shelf and hit the deck because we cranked the bassman. I thought, oh no, it's landed on my Lester, and that would have been a disaster. It actually landed on my Strat. Happy days.
That is quite a ding. Man, that's quite a ding. Yeah, nice.
That is a beauty.
Yeah, it really is. Wow.
Oh, and that's got such a great story.
Well, I love that it happened to a relic Strat.
Oh,
You know,
man.
it's starting to get its own bit of love now, which
I
is
think
great.
I probably would have been sad if it landed on the 61.
Oh yeah, and I would have been sad if it landed at 61.
That wouldn't have been ideal,
No,
but it did
no.
land on the. We do need to think about all the stuff that's up
But
there.
it gives you an idea of how loud it was in here. The walls were shaking.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
threw the wah pedal off.
Well, I hope the wah isn't broken.
Yeah. Lots of people asking what guitar is in my hands. This is my Nick Huber, my Crafter 2 that I've had for years. And just wanted to say that Clemens Huber, no relation to Nick Huber, funnily enough, but has been working for Nick Huber for years and years, is off to a different job.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, very soon.
What's he doing?
He's going to do some, still in the
Yeah.
instrument business, but doing some other stuff. But
Going to work
really
for
lovely
Nick
guy.
Juba.
Yeah. Juba. So, yeah, lovely guy. So, thank you, Clemens, for your years of support and loviness.
Buzz Crowmugger says, knock a few bucks off and tell me what you want for it.
That is the most extraordinary guitar, and that has the closest neck I've seen to your 61.
Yeah, it's quite a bit bigger than the 61.
Yes,
but
yeah.
The
That shoulder,
general dimensions.
yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah. Interestingly, when my friend Chris came up, he wanted to play all the Strats and get an idea of something he might like in a Strat. He really liked the Transit Van, which has the smallest neck of the lot.
Oh wow! Okay, what
And
does he play at the moment?
He's got it's an American vintage 65 neck on a road worn body.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nice
nice.
guitar actually. Plays
nice.
great, sounds nice. The guitar he likes least is the John Mayer one, which funnily enough has the biggest neck.
Wow, that's my favourite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
wow.
that has the biggest neck.
Lots of people saying great spot for a ding.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
It's nice. Quite pleased with that.
The worst spot, I remember on Red, oh man, I'll never forget that. I was at a Tin Spirits rehearsal and I went to adjust my mic, and as I was doing it I thought, it's okay, the strap's on, it's going to be fine. And as I went to adjust my mic, the guitar fell off and hit the edge of the flight case. And it left Red with this. Look at that. Look at that ding. Look at that. And I've often thought of getting a little bit of red nail polish.
Oh, that's
Just,
great.
just to go over that ding. I hate it.
Do you?
I like dings here, and this is all good.
But do you see the way it's
there-
made the lacquer crack as well?
Yeah.
I love that.
Ah,
That's awesome.
it's okay. It's okay. I shall learn to love it again after 10 years. 10 years since that ding.
Yeah. Right. We do have to hurry up a bit.
Okay, let's go.
Oh
Man, 25+6.
my god, we really do have to hurry up a bit. Shawnee is Cubs fan 1.
Hey,
Shawnee is
mate.
Cubs fan 1. Hi, greetings from Chicago.
Sweet home.
What do you think of Fender made in Japan guitars, specifically the vintage reissues? I got my eyes on a 62 reissue telly.
Played some wonderful Japanese-made Fenders.
My first telly was a Bound Edge custom 62 reissue. Two things that stop me every time I see pictures of them. I'm like, yeah, I want that. Particularly the color-coded Jazzmasters, which had the color-coded headstock. Two things stop me. One, metric measurements on everything, so no imperial bits fit, and poly finishes. So if you're a vintage nerd like I am, you can't have a poly finish. Other than that, fantastic guitars, sound great, look great. Some people prefer them significantly over the Ensenada Mexico ones. I don't know what to say about that. But yeah, and of course they're priced very competitively as well.
Indeed.
They always get the colours right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wade Summers, hello Wade.
Hey, Wade.
It's been a while since catching you guys live. Always watch the replays. I saw Biffy in April. Also played in front of folks for the first time in 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Open mic with a friend. No monitors. Could barely hear ourselves. Had a blast.
That's lovely. So, my daughter's asked me to come and do an open mic with her. And I think open mics are wonderful.
Terrifying experiences.
Yeah, but they're great.
My dad does an open mic in his local town. We used to do it quite regularly, but since COVID and everything, it's dropped off a bit. And I learnt a lot doing all those.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I know the stories. They're so good.
Nice.
Mick would text me little videos of what's going on in his open mic. It's really great.
Hello, Dad, if you're watching, by the way. You usually do. Actually, my dad's got a guitar for sale at the moment.
Does he?
Anyone wants to buy it. It's a Taylor limited edition 410 in walnut and spruce. It's a very nice guitar.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, I'll probably find a way of selling it. Anyway, it's very nice.
Lovely.
Sergio Martinez. Hello, Sergio.
Hello,
Howdy
Sergio.
from Texas Legends. Guitars with coil taps or coil splits, assuming a good single coil sound, separate pedals for each mode, or just twiddle with the knobs.
That's a tricky one. That's a tricky one.
We're not fans. Not fans, sorry.
Not that people have got great sounds out of coil taps.
And do.
I'm speaking a lot of past tense at the moment. I don't know why. But they do get great sounds out of coil taps. And most coil tap sounds I've not been able to work with very well.
Yeah, most coil taps are coil splits, by the way. A coil tap is where you tap the coil at a
Different part of the
different wind.
Yeah.
Coil split is where much more common. If you've got, you probably heard of 4-conductor wiring, where you get a humbucker and it's got 4 wires coming off it rather than 2, and the 2 extra wires of so you can have split the coils in the humbucker, so only use 1 coil. And logically, anyway, it ought to deliver a single coil sound. It doesn't really, for lots of reasons.
Yeah.
One of my DGT is pretty good. I've used it a handful of times. I personally prefer a humbucker guitar that's light enough sounding so that when you turn it down, it goes lovely, crystal clear light, like the Lester does.
Yeah.
Would you use separate pedal settings? I think in the same way that, so if I take a Strat and a Lester to the gig, might be that I lean on one pedal more with the Strat and a different pedal for the Lester, because the Lester doesn't have the dynamic range the Strat does. It also overdrives much more quickly, and therefore, and of course it's got a different EQ, basic EQ, so it might be that, you know, for the balls out stuff they both end up being on, but actually this is the core sound for that guitar, that's the core sound for that guitar, and it might be that you would approach it in that way.
Josh Smith does it the same way.
I've got something in common with Josh Smith, Dan. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you do, but he's got his dualist on his board, and he only uses it with the Strat.
Okay.
It's the only time the pedal comes on, and it's like with the Strat, it's the best sounding pedal in the world.
Yeah.
And he has to have it on his board for the one song he gets the Strat out for.
Do you mean Tula or Dualist?
Dualist.
Dualist. Yeah.
Tula's on all the time with his telly, but the Dualist comes out for the Strat.
Wicked.
Yeah. But
Wicked.
it's definitely, different pedals and stuff for, different chord tones depending on, guitars and that sort of stuff. Absolutely.
We had, I don't know if it was maybe Toby or David at the Experience Day on Friday going, what does the Klon do? I don't really get it.
And
Plugged
you showed
in.
some Klon love.
And they're like, yeah, don't really get it. I was like, this is what a Klon does. Strat, 2-rock,
Hello.
Klon. And they're like, oh, right, okay, that's what a Klon does. And it made me go, maybe it should go back on the board, talking about specific overdrive pedals.
Man. When I did the board recently for Paul.
Stacey?
No. YouTuber.
Davids.
Paul Davids, thank you. And he's like, I've got my original Klon and I've tried everything and they're all great, but this is the one. And we've had the same thing. They're all great. They're all amazing. But there's... Put that thing on. It's like, there it is.
I don't know why.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
I don't know. Yeah. So mixture of both, I think, Sergio. Twiddling with the knobs obviously will get you a long way. But yeah, maybe just if it puts you in a different mindset, then maybe have a different core drive for each type of thing.
Yeah. Best of luck, mate.
Excuse me. Just trying to think what I've done that's going to make me tired. Mowed the lawn yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Put a new air filter in my lawnmower yesterday, Dan.
Did you?
Yeah. It was very complex.
But at least it was expensive.
Yeah, no. You just have to unclip a plastic thing, take out the old one, put in a new one.
Oh, right.
Yeah, about £3. Just
Nice.
a bit of foam. I had deduced, though, that it was struggling. I thought, I bet it's the air filter.
Right.
At what point in your life do you get where you go, it's probably the air filter?
I think
I've never done any mechanics.
Right. But we've had that since we dwelt in caves.
Right.
I'm sure. It's like, this club isn't clubbing properly. I'm sure.
I need to hammer some nails into it. I don't think they have lawnmowers in cavemen times.
Yeah, but they wanted them.
Yeah.
They didn't have them, but there was something in the back of their mind. Their lives didn't feel complete.
Ugh, what we need is a thing with a spinny thing on the bottom. If we pushed it along, make grass shorter.
There are saber-toothed tigers out there. Yeah, but this will keep the front of it nice and neat. And, great.
Yeah, with apologies to all cavemen. We don't want to offend any cavemen.
Andy's on.
Or cave people.
Andy Timmins is on.
Cave people.
Cave
not
people.
just
Cave people.
cavemen.
Andy's on.
I don't reckon the women cut the lawns.
A massive shout out to our dear friend Andy Timmins,
Hey, Andy.
who will be here in 3 weeks' time. 3 weeks' time. And then we've got a few gigs we're doing with Andy Timmins.
Yeah.
The Saturday night
It's gone.
is gone.
Sunday is almost gone in Whitney. You can find tickets at thatpedalshowstore.com.
and Thursday night is almost gone as well.
There's just a handful of tickets left for Thursday night here in Frome, and you can find tickets for that at cheeseandgrain.com. The gigs are Thursday 23rd, Friday 25th, Sunday 26th. Saturday is sold out of June.
Yep. Can't wait to see you, mate. It's going to be great. So one of the highlights for us whenever we go to NAMM is catching up with Andy. It's always, we just have the best time. And obviously we haven't been able to do that for a number of years. And we had shows booked with Andy pre-COVID. And we were travelling all over the countryside. And anyway,
we've had to
cancel
be
a couple of times.
less ambitious with the venues this time for all kinds of reasons, but or not the venues. Ambitious with the travelling.
Yeah.
Less ambitious with the travelling this time. But can't wait for that.
It's going to be amazing.
Not least that 2 songs that we're going to do with the TPS band part of the night is we're going to do Rosanna by Toto and we're going to do Peg by Steely Dan. Neither of which I started learning yet. All right.
It's going to be great. It'll be great. Lovely.
Just a little bit of work to do, Dan.
Lovely. That's great.
Just a little bit of work to do.
Very, very nice. Squealy-dee-doo.
Gary Varner. Hello, Toes. Besides a telly, Dan, or a Strat, Mick, what feels most like home? What guitar? I'm guessing 335 for Mick and the Les Paul for Dan. Loving the TPS hang. And to you, Gary, thanks for being here.
Thank you, mate. That's a really great question. I would have to go with the Junior.
Yeah.
My 61 Junior, which happens to be right here.
I think in terms of feeling like home, it's really tough because probably the same with you, Gary. Different guitars put me in different mindsets.
Yeah. Sorry. So that lick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fun learn.
So glad it's you.
Different mindsets different guitars, isn't it? And I think, Strat is obviously home for me. 335 feels like home. And bizarrely, the Lester is feeling more and more like home.
Yeah.
But I would probably say Telly, actually, even though I don't really play him on the show, because it feels sort of like a Fender. Well, it feels a lot like a Fender.
Yeah. Yeah. What else is there? It's one of those things, like, I do pick up the Les Paul often. I pick this up often. But every morning I get up and practice. It's the old Telly. As much as anything, just to have it in my hands. This old thing from 1965. Just sat there going, oh, it's great. It's lovely. Lovely way to start the day.
Albus Band, Aaron, hello.
Hey, buddy.
He says, dozens of people spontaneously combust each year. It's just not widely reported on. Is it John Stampy Peeps? Anyway.
All Chef was a green globule on his drum seat.
Yeah, and you can't dust from it.
It.
Hello, my legends, he
I
says.
can't wait for some new new Spinal Tap material. Spinal Tap 2 coming out soon.
Hello, my legends. As I leave for NAMM, I'll miss you. Yeah, we won't. We're not going to NAMM. Sorry. Maybe next year. He says, but I need to know, who's on your Mount Rushmore of vocalists?
Oh,
is there 4 people on Mount Rushmore?
Okay. Who is the guy?
Labby Sifri.
Yeah, that's him. Right. I've got to say...
Okay, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt and Abraham Lincoln. 4.
Right. Jeff Buckley.
Yeah.
Chris Cornell.
Nice.
Joni Mitchell.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that.
Who's the guy? Flippin' heck. A car buck, a toothbrush.
Paul Carrack.
Paul Carrack.
Okay.
He is absolutely extraordinary. And finally, my favourite jazz singer of all time. Dude. I'll find him.
You don't mean Chet Baker, please don't.
No.
Louis Armstrong.
No. What's yours?
Okay, Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston, and Dio.
Nice, very nice.
There you go. Dio's optional, by the way. But yeah.
Oh, come on, Tony Bennett.
Oh, Tony Bennett.
Yeah.
He was on the front lines in the Second World War.
Yeah, right.
Just fascinating.
Dude, I was watching this thing the other day, and the guy, there's an actor in Lord of the Rings who played one of the Dark Wizards. He's flippin' heck. I don't know why my brain just says, when it comes time to say someone's name...
You've read The Chimp Paradox.
I have.
Then you know why.
Yeah, so...
The hippopotamus takes over from the velociraptor in your brain is what happens.
Okay.
Front and back, isn't it? That was a technical explanation, by the way, for all you brain surgeons out there.
Okay, I will tell you who it is, because he's the most amazing person, like, ever. So...
what are we on now? We're still talking about vocalists?
Yeah. But you were talking about...
Tony Bennett in the war.
Tony Bennett in the war, right? So Christopher Lee was also...
Oh, wow.
He was in the British Secret Service.
Was he?
In the war.
No way.
And they were doing a scene where he was getting stabbed in the back by someone. And Peter Jackson was saying, you need to get stabbed in the back when you go, he says, actually, when you stab someone in the back, they don't make that noise. They go, as you're pushing the air out of their lungs. And it's like, and he starts telling you about all this covert stuff he did in World War II. But Christopher Lee's amazing. He was doing heavy metal albums and everything right up to,
really?
like, he was legit incredible human being.
I'm still going to go with Aretha Franklin. Every time I hear her sing, I can't fathom it.
Yeah,
And
that's Tony Bennett for me.
Yeah, Tony Bennett.
Yeah.
Seeing as we're going on stories about famous actors that are a bit sort of espionage-y, I knew a guy called Johnny Scaramanga, right? Johnny Scaramanga,
Right.
are in and around Bath. His uncle was only obviously at school with Ian Fleming, wasn't he?
No way.
And that's where Scaramanga came from.
No way.
Truth.
That is really cool.
It's the truth.
Wow. That's very cool. Wow. Oh, yes. Of course, there are thousands of other singers that we could say.
Freddie Mercury says
Freddie
Stephen
Mercury.
Of course.
That's absolutely.
He's right up there.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, Miles Kennedy, nice. Plant, yeah, Plant's not up there for me, sorry. Holy Diver, says Repo Man, yep. Yeah, nice.
Very good.
Nice. Eddie Vedder. Ian Gillan, nice shout. Mel Haggard, that's an interesting choice, Danny. Mike Patton, yeah, nice.
Yeah, but that's
Janis Joplin, says Courier. Too shouty for me, brilliant, but too shouty.
Yeah, so I was thinking.
Annie
about...
Lennox, nice shout.
Yeah,
Eagle
yeah.
Ray Rob. Bruce Dickinson. To the slaughter. Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah, nice. Loads of good singers out there, but I think Aretha stands head and shoulders above all of them put together.
Right. Yeah, she's amazing.
Makes my heart.
Tell you
melt.
what,
One note.
I
Melted
remember.
heart.
I remember when Whitney Houston was doing her thing, and then Mariah Carey came along and did her thing, and then Whitney Houston released "I Will Always Love You," the Dolly Parton song, and I just thought at that moment, she said, like, the lines here, love.
Yeah.
Whitney
was
she was
truly gifted.
Yeah.
And I think you can almost talk about Mariah and Whitney and Celine Dion in the same breath. They are, and whether you like the music or not, doesn't matter. They are, each of them, utterly staggering singers. And as someone who loves singers, I'm mesmerised by all of them whenever they sing.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
My heart will go on.
Neil Finn, of course. I mean, Neil Finn is of course my fave, but he's my favourite songwriter, and one of my favourite guitar players, and I would adore the guy. I think what he does vocally, I've never heard anyone else do as well. Yeah, he's just astonishing.
Nice.
Yep, there we go.
Nice. Mr. Wet 30's got burgers on the grill. That sounds fantastic.
Oh, man. We're not filming tomorrow, so I'm not staying over tonight, so there's no meat feast.
No meat feast. Sorry, mate.
It's all right.
I've got a rehearsal for my gig on Friday because I am bricking it a little bit.
Are you?
Yeah. I've chosen a ridiculous set list. So I've got a lot of singing to do by, like, some of the world's best singers. So, yeah.
Great.
No Aretha songs, by the way. That would be a trip too far. Oh God, we've got loads to go, Dan.
Okay, that's okay. I'll stopwatch. Go.
Yes. Okay. Oh my God. Hi guys, says Benjamin.
Benjamin.
I've had a Squier Strat that I replaced the pickups with Fender Deluxe drives. On Dan's recommendation in Q&A, I replaced the pots, jack, switcher and had fretwork done. And now the thing is a FKN beast.
Fantastic. There you go.
Good on you, Ben.
Well done, mate. Thank you.
KJ Photo. I'm wondering how many people out there tune their acoustic 12 strings down a step, as I do. Cheers from the Big Apple.
Yeah, that's yours is in D now, isn't it?
Yeah, as a lot of people pointed out in the comments to that video on the 12 string that went out this week. It is said, I don't know that it's true, it is said that a lot of them ended up tuned down because they weren't really built to take the tension of the strings.
There's a lot of tension on there.
So there's a lot of tension.
There's a lot of tension. Yeah.
So yeah, that sounds kind of
just relax.
Likely, and it might then be that the sound you associate is one that's tuned down a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Gregory's 12 strings were always tuned at concert, though. He didn't, but they were Rickenbacker and they were a bit smaller scale, weren't they?
Yeah.
I think they are. Anyway.
Smaller everything.
Yeah.
Except price.
Flipping crazy prices.
Yeah.
But great guitars.
Yeah. Sensible pricing. Scott H. Toenail clippings. I've got a 2017 57 American vintage reissue Strat into a Blackface Deluxe with a Dane, Soul Food, Vertigo Trem and DD200 in between them. It tells me I'm spending too much time and money with you guys.
No, it tells me that you've been paying attention and you're making great life choices. Yeah. No, that's really great. That combination, and the DD200 such a great pedal, into that amp, man, and the Dane as well. I think is a perfect gain stage for that combination as well. Beautiful.
Yeah. Nice. Zachary Manzanetti again. He says, "Can you explain? Isn't the 50/50 rig? For those of you not aware, I have a Mesa 50/50 power amp, 50 watts per side, that runs into a 212 Mesa cab with EVs. Isn't that just like putting the pedals in an effects loop? Wouldn't this be a big part of why it was so clear and big? If so, does this change your use of effects loops?" Yeah, really good question. So, signal order for me with the 50/50 rig currently is overdrive pedal or two, fuzz, that kind of stuff. Then it hits some preamps, some proper valve preamps, and then it goes off and it gets split. And some of the stuff goes through delay and reverb, and some of the stuff goes through harmonic tremolo, and then it ends up. So you're absolutely right. It is like, well, you're putting your wet effects after the overdrive. So that is exactly like using an effects loop. That's exactly what's happening. However, and you're right, it's a part of why it sounds so big and clear. As it happens, I don't really like it because the harmonic trem craps out too much because it just can't handle the line level from the preamp. So I prefer the sound of that before. I prefer the sound of chorus before, and I've got my vibe before as well, because I just prefer the sound of all those analog type effects before. However, delay and reverb are really wonderful.
Yeah.
After that. What I'm struggling with is getting the gain right. So this gig I've got on Friday, I've decided I'm not going to take that rig because it's a really quick changeover, and it's something I can't quite get right about the rig. And I'm just going to take the 2-rock. There's a Hot Rod Deluxe on stage, and I'm going to use the Hot Rod Deluxe just as an extra dry feed. So I've got a bit of movement going on.
Right.
And I'm just much happier with overdrive pedals stuff, cranked amp, or amp on the edge, and I personally am happier in that place. However, what you say is right. It does sound massive and clean, and if you stick some Dimension D type chorus on there, it's epic. I will use that rig for the TPS gig because we need a bit more of that given the material we're doing. But just, kind of stuff I play all the time and enjoy the most, that's amp, cranked, Strat, everything in the front. Much prefer it. Much prefer it. So yeah, but you're right, Zachary. Evan Diebold.
Hey, Evan.
Leg ends. I have a 65 Martin D18. Yes, you do.
Wow.
That's in need of some work. My luthier is recommending a neck set. Do you have any experience with getting that done? Also, this may not be up your alley, but the new Harry Styles album is ace.
Ah, cool.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
Niall, you did some stuff with Niall, didn't you?
His guitar player.
Yeah.
And also was it the bass player in the Harry Styles band? Someone in the Harry Styles band. He's using some of our stuff. But we went to see, years and years ago, when my daughter was younger, we went to see Niall, and they invited us along when they were playing it in London.
It wasn't that long ago, was it?
It was pre-COVID.
Was it?
Yeah, totally. And then we sort of went to the thing afterwards and met Niall, and he was lovely, and he gave Liv a hug.
But you were saying they were playing like loud amps on stage, and they
honestly,
were great.
They were the band flippin' heck.
Yeah.
It was one of the best because the venue, which was in Shepherd's Bush, the Shepherd's Bush Empire. That's a pig to do sound in.
Yeah.
The sound was the best sound I'd ever heard in that venue, and I must have been seen like 20 gigs at that venue.
Yeah.
The band, like all amps on stage, everyone loud, they were amazing. Their harmonies, oh my word, it was like amazing to see. And he's like at the end, it's like, you know, did you enjoy it? Like the harmonies were just killer.
Nice.
And he was such a lovely guy. And
So we would imagine Harry's album is pretty good. If anyone's confused at this point, they were all in New Kids on the
One Direction.
Direction, yeah.
New Kids on the Direction. Yeah.
Sorry, one good thing about getting older is you can absolutely give up on what young people are doing. I am enjoying that. Right, neck reset. Yeah, it's not uncommon on a vintage guitar. So if your repair person is au fait with doing it and they've done lots of vintage Martins, then by all means go for it.
Yeah.
But if
it's quite a common thing.
If they're saying, yeah, I've set up a few strats,
let me rip the neck off.
Never actually done a neck reset on a Martin, I would probably go with the due respect, buy them a nice bottle of something and go, look, I'm going to take it to someone who's done 50 of these.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
BV says, friendly producer's note, need to cut down on the tangents and push on a bit to make dinner time.
Sorry, BV. Okay, we've got to make it shorter, haven't we, Dan? How do we do that?
I don't know.
The Jameson. Mick, whatever happened to your PRS McCarthy soap bar? I have a 2002 gold top with Lollas just like you. The Lollas being dated 2004, and it's my favourite P90 guitar. It just sings. Yeah, you know what? Putting those Lollas in the soap bar made a colossal difference to it, and really, really made it a good guitar. Just so happened it coincided with me. Well, A, going on the Strat journey in a big way, and B, falling in love with the gold top Les Paul.
Yeah.
And everything else has become a sideshow since then. So
it's a great guitar, and it sort of sits out in the office area and does get played a lot. It's, I don't know. It's like me with tellies. I'm always going to pick that up before everything, and then everything gets a little bit further down the road. Yeah. The more I get into tellies.
Yeah. I also, true to say, I like the P90s in the casino because that's a thing that I expect of the casino. Yeah. And I like the P90 in my Collings double cut, but I don't really understand them. I know where I am with humbuckers and single coils, and there's nothing that I can't do on my single coil or humbucker guitars that I would get out of a P90. So it's not they can't do that, and of course they've made some truly spectacular sounds down the years. It's like a third decision for me when I've got two others to make. Course, so it's a really great guitar. I mean, it's a really great guitar. It's not a reflection on how good the guitar is or how good it sounds. Home for me is Strats and then humbuckers, really.
Yep.
Is the truth.
Yep. Great.
Mark V, why are distorted tones more prone to feedback than clean ones? Or is that not true?
So
it's true.
It's very true. So what's happening is distortion means limiting. At some point, the signal is limiting, and you're getting a lot more of those frequencies at a point, and then you're getting harmonics, and you're getting it's somewhere in there within those harmonics that are being created. You'll get like fundamentals and things that when you get the signal coming from the amplifier, it's easier for the guitar to pick up, and then you get this feedback loop.
Because you've got more sustain as well, remember. A distorted tone is going to sustain much longer than a clean one, plus all the overtones, like he said. So there's more to feedback. It's as simple as that.
Indeed.
Yeah. Brian Carpenter, cheers from Michigan. I recently realised that fewer really nice guitars is far better than many cheap guitars.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way about pedals?
Well, there's only, I mean, you might have noticed, we've got a few pedals.
One or two.
But there's only so many pedals that you can put on your pedal board. see, I will take out, one of the tape delays, but I would never get rid of my Echo Rec or, the C1 doesn't necessarily go to every gig with me, but man, I'd never get rid of those. So many years ago, I had this ridiculous collection of pedals, and
Many years ago. And then I sold about 150 in one weekend. Did you?
Yeah.
Did you sell them on Electronic Bay or something?
I did. Because I just got...
How much money did you make?
Well, it quickly went. I realised I had a bunch of pedals that I bought thinking I was going to use them for something, and they never got touched. And I hated the idea of being a collector. Just thought...
I hate to tell you, mate.
I know. But that's okay, because we sort of got there in a different way. But originally I wanted I don't mind having 12 different choruses and knowing that chorus does that one and that chorus does that thing, and and that's great. And for this gig I might need this on the board. That's great, but it's the idea for me of having something that I would never choose for anything.
Yeah. It should go. Yeah.
Looking at all the tube screamers up there.
Yeah.
And I can see every single one of those as a specific job that I would choose that for.
Yeah.
Same with the fuzz faces.
And I'm, weird about tube screamers and fuzz faces.
Absolutely.
So I've got lots of them.
Yeah. So
we will have a clear out at some point. We're going to have.
Yeah, I know. It's getting a bit ridiculous.
But yes. So yes is the answer.
Yeah.
I think, except it's a bit different with pedals because they're smaller, they're easier to store, and if you swap out a TS10 for a TS9 one day, it's not a big a deal as going from a Strat to a Les Paul.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we hear you, Brian.
Yep.
Why not Maple? Why not Maple says, in reference to tidy and organised storage, we're going to get all Marie Kondo.
I'll leave this one to you.
Thanks. How do you store the guitar cases? It's by far the problem with having several guitars. I also vote with you Mick and Dan's outrageously awesome pedal board for 2022 show.
Okay, love it. We have a hallway out here, which go to the facilities, and on one side of the hallway is all guitar cases.
Yeah. I find the best way to store them is upright next to one another.
Yeah.
And then that way they can go in a hallway, or if you've got a particularly big room, you could build in some storage that's about, guitar case height, or indeed floor to ceiling height, where you could probably get 2 shelves worth of guitars. And if it's nicely done and you paint it all in, it probably wouldn't impinge on the room too much if you've got a half decent sized room. Hallways, under stairs, anywhere where you can put the cases upright.
Yeah, I've got a garage at home, and they just sit up on the
on the rafters.
On the rafters.
Yeah, I'd be worried about damp up there. You see, well ventilated.
Yeah, I mean I'm in there quite a lot. It doesn't just because I've got mats in there as well, and we're in there doing stuff.
So even sweatier then is what you say.
Yeah. It's a lot of.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, Ferraris are quite low as well. So I find if you put them above, build some shelves above where your Ferraris are.
That's a really good point.
That you can save a bit of space in your air conditioned garage. But mine's underneath my swimming pool. But yeah, yeah. I think the cupboard option is quite a good shout.
Yeah,
but definitely upright, because if they're all piled on top of one another, then getting one out is a nightmare.
Yeah, you're Marie Kondo of guitar cases. Yeah. Does it spark joy? Yeah. Then leave the case for
I'm not a fan of guitar cases, actually. The only reason I keep them is if you ever have to sell the guitar. I never use guitar cases.
Just you mean as in you use gig bags?
Yeah. I can't do it. They're too cumbersome, and they never fit in certain cars. They fit in all my cars, but when you have to travel with someone else, they've never.
Yeah, when you have to get your Ferrari out.
They've never got a car optimised for guitar transportation.
That's right.
It's always
next on the list.
Averagely sized hatchback.
Great.
Yeah, not in my world. If you cannot get a 412 led down in the boot with the seats up it is not a car.
Indeed. Nice.
Apart from my Ferraris, but Mick and Dan's pedal board for 2022, maybe.
Yeah.
The trouble is, it changes so much.
I like that though.
That might be a more interesting show. Why does it change so much?
Yeah. Great.
JTS. Hello, JTS. I'm looking
mate.
for an optical compressor. Which ones should I try, or are they snake oil?
No, they definitely have a different thing. Okay, there's a couple to try. If you can find a diamond optical compressor, they are magic. Demeter, really wonderful optical compressor.
What is that? Is that like a light emitting diode?
Yeah. And so
photoresistor.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that. And it just, again, it has that just feels different. It's relying on the as you play, the signal goes in, and basically the voltage triggers the light bulb, which then goes on the resistor and opens the resistor. So it uses that as a compression stage, as opposed to something like the ICs they use in the Dynacomp or something like that.
What would you associate the optical compression sound with then? So if we say IC is the MXR Dynacomp sound, like I know what an 1176 sounds like. What's that, an FET? I don't know.
What would you...
Is it a studio thing, or is it an overt guitar thing?
No, well, it can be a studio thing, but on guitar, it's not a million miles away from the Dynacomp in that it's very much a compression.
It's a
thing.
compressor. Yeah,
it's a compressor. Yeah. It's not a. I mean, I guess you can put blends on them and that sort of stuff. But it's got the here is my compressed tone. Boom. Yeah. But if that's what you like, I mean, I know David Gilmour used the Demeter compressor. I don't know what he's using now, but I don't know. There's definitely. I will have to do a show on them and show the difference, because there really is a thing about them. They sound great.
So the answer is JTS. They definitely don't sound like all other compressors.
No.
Yeah. There we are.
Yes, the Strymon OB1 optical compressor is fantastic. Yeah, that's another really good one. Yeah.
Acoustical butt nugget. He says, I'm about to have a go with my first wet dry setup. Thanks, fellas, for all the ideas.
Excellent. Oh, have fun, mate.
Insight. Thank you, Acoustical. Lexington Daniel says, greetings from Bourbon County, Kentucky.
Lovely.
I went there once. Band split up due to gas prices.
Oh, no.
Now we're working on an acoustic duo, since that seems to be all that gets the gigs right now. Would love to see something on that sort of acoustic format.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it once. We should do it again.
Yeah.
We both love playing acoustic guitar and doing that singing thing.
Yeah, indeed.
So we should do that.
Yep.
Sorry to hear about the band, Lexington. Hopefully it's just, peaks and troughs, and this is a trough, and there'll be a peak again soon.
Indeed.
Yeah. Hot Pole Studios. Afternoon, gents. You may have already answered this one, but will I see you at NAMM?
Oh, unfortunately, no. We won't be there
year.
this year.
Sorry.
We go to NAMM. We've been to NAMM like loads and loads, and we love going there to see our friends. Really.
Yeah.
That's the main reason that we, find ways to make it work.
$5,000 to go and see your mates.
$5,000 to go and see your mates
is pushing it a little bit in these current times.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's probably the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
But that's how much it costs once you buy the plane tickets, the hotels, and a few giant steaks, and
but the next time they do
bottles of Chateau Ballbag 1973.
Indeed, and hiring Ferraris.
Yeah.
From the of course,
because you have to recreate the what's the song I'm thinking of?
It's contagious.
It's the Van Halen song. And the Ferrari's revving. Might be a Lambo.
Not Hot for Teacher.
Yeah, no. Oh yeah, no, that sounds like a motorbike.
Yeah, no, that's his Ferrari. That's Hot for Teacher. Yeah, absolutely.
No Ferrari sounds like that. Sorry.
Hot for Teacher is the drummer what's his name?
Yeah.
Alex Van Halen.
Yeah.
That is his Ferrari mic'd up. Or
I don't
if
believe
it's
it.
not his Ferrari, but
It needs to go to a garage if it sounds like that.
okay. But it was one of his cars mic'd up.
Yeah, it's a V8 of some. It sounds like a Harley to me.
Okay.
Anyway, someone is in the comments answering now.
Panama.
Panama, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. That may well be a Ferrari.
Right. There you go.
It's a bit revvy. Yes, Panama, says Dustin Thiessen. Still Bilbo. The F sharp -7 says Panama. It was a hotel hairdryer, says AK.
How are we doing?
Got loads to go.
Oh, flip awesome.
Bartlett O'Shea. Hello, distal extremities.
Man, that's a reach. Hang on.
We'll get demonetised.
Jazz version.
Decreasing dry amp volume without rolling the guitar volume off. So Bartlett O'Shea wants to decrease his dry amp volume without rolling the guitar volume off. Should he get a volume pedal or a variable switch, and where do I place it?
Volume pedal.
Yeah, definitely a volume pedal.
You will find it so handy. If you've never experimented with a volume pedal, put it on your list to try, because they can be amazing.
If you want it to have the least tonal effect, i.e. don't put it in front of your overdrive pedals, because if you roll the volume off, you'll lose all your gain. So you need to put it as far down the chain as you possibly can before the dry amp, and that will essentially act as a master volume into the dry amp. You could even put it in the effects loop if you want, and if you're going to put it that far down the chain, you need not a guitar impedance one. Is that right?
If you're going to put it down, yeah. So the 50k one, if it's being hit with a low impedance, then you can have a
low impedance.
A low
means
impedance.
At the output of another pedal.
Yeah, then you can have a volume pedal. If you have a 1 meg or 500k input impedance on that, you're going to find that the sweep is a bit weird.
Right.
But with like a 50k, you get a nice even sweep all the way through.
Further down the chain, if you want it to be more like the volume control on your guitar before your overdrive pedals and all that, get a higher impedance one. If you're further that way down the chain towards the amp and you want it to just react volume up and down, lower impedance. Yeah. And if you look at Ernie Ball or whatever, they will explain all of that.
Indeed.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck, mate.
Dealwa 3. Dealwas wants to know, hi Dinham, I'm looking for a new transparent overdrive. I'm running the Looking Glass now and it's close. I play a G&L Legacy, mostly rhythm and dynamic. Should I get a tube OD?
Oh, so the Looking Glass is a really fantastic sounding OD. If that is close and it's not doing it for you, tube OD as far as transparency is concerned.
Kingsley Page.
Yeah, but the Kingsley Page still's got a... Actually...
It's pretty clear. We had it in the Marshall on Friday, and
right.
It's is it on?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
A tube OD is a good. We certainly found in the tube OD show that we did, of the ones we tried, partly because of the 3-band EQ that most of them have, but also I think just generally in their design, they did sound more transparent,
right,
than the standard overdrive pedal.
Yeah,
I thought they did.
Yeah,
it's not always going to be the case, and I don't think whether it's got a tube or not should be your defining.
No.
Yeah, but I think it's partly about having that just better EQ control, isn't it?
Yeah, but the Page is a single tone control. But yeah, you do have Simon Jarrett's ears. So yeah, Kingsley Page, the Kaluna.
The Kaluna
by
was
Valbrook
fantastic.
is awesome. So
and the Black Star dual drive was excellent as well.
Yeah. There's some Yeah, absolutely. Give that a go.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that Kaluna actually. That sounded spectacularly good.
Yep.
Connor Larkin. Love you guys. We love you, Connor.
Oh, thank you, Carl.
He says, I think you'd really dig an Ibanez Mostortion.
Oh, yeah.
Tim Pierce, Bookovac, and tons of other session guys use it for a light OD boost. I find it to be very touch sensitive and musical. I know, he says, buzzwords. Yeah, I've never even...
Yeah, they're
What's
cool.
that, an old thing?
Yeah, MOSFET-based distortion pedal.
So is that kind of... what were the other big MOSFET distortion pedals? Was the Distortion Plus a MOSFET? No.
I don't know. I have to have a look.
Yeah, all right. Let's give it a go.
We'll have a look.
Mostortion. Oh, yeah, I see. Thanks for the tip. Yak or Jack Petch? Jack Petch. Any tips on prepping a strap for flights? A few weeks of gigs in Italy, Greece and Turkey. Very nice too. Bound to be hot. Not sure what to expect. Rapid heat and altitude. Back in time for TPS at Fat Lils. A good case, Jack. If you...
Yeah.
A good flight case will...
Sort out all your problems.
Yeah, it will certainly mitigate a lot of the problems.
Yeah.
They are crazy money and you have to be doing a lot of touring to make it make sense. But Calton cases, there's nothing better. I mean, they're insane money. Calton, Calton, or just a really nice flight case. Actually, the Scott Dixon stuff's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Joey uses those, flies with those. There's nothing you can do about temperature and humidity. That just is what it is, and it's down to the guitar, really.
Right.
How stable the guitar is. And, you know, it's made out of wood, so it's going to move a little bit.
Yeah.
I would worry less about the flight and more about the once you're there.
So if you've got time to do it, if you're acclimatizing the guitar, don't take it out of the case straight away. Leave it in the case for as long as you can before you open the case up, so the guitar doesn't get shocked. Will help it to acclimatize.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Enjoy that, Jack, and we look forward to seeing you at Fat Lils.
Yeah, great.
Gareth's on. Gareth Johnson.
G'day, mate.
He says, have a bottle of something red on me. He says, thanks for showing TPS viewers what the Love Bomb can do.
Yep.
Gareth is part designer of the Love Bomb. And hi to everyone that got in touch afterwards. I've been blown away by the response and enjoying talking to all of you from the UK to the US to Taiwan.
Oh, lovely.
Nice to hear from you, Gareth. So Gareth is behind the huge Love Bomb pedal that we had on. There's one thing we didn't do, which I really want to do.
Right.
If you hammer it, it does gated craziness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we didn't quite get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I meant to do that, and I think we were so overwhelmed with it being like, yes!
Yeah, it just sounded so lovely.
Yeah, good. Oh, I'm glad, Gareth. I'm glad. Clayton Ehlers. Clayton Ehlers. Yesterday was my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday,
Happy
mate.
birthday, Clayton. And I've been getting some cash, as per usual. Remember those days, Dan?
I do.
I've come upon an 80s Tokai house brand guitar. Are you familiar with Tokai, and is it worth $425, or should I just go with a CV Strat? Classic vibe Strat. Right. There's Tokai and there's Tokai.
Right.
Classic era Tokai guitars, made in Japan, often very, very good things.
Yes.
And I still think they make a nice guitar or two. There are also less good, more affordable versions of them
Right.
over the years.
Right.
So it really depends on what Tokai it is. But if it's an early Tokai, a Breezy Sound or whatever they were called, some of those can be really exceptionally good guitars. Tokai nearly ended up building the Japanese Fenders, I think I'm right in saying.
Really?
I think I'm right in saying that. So, as always, Clayton, not very helpful. It's down to the guitar, whether you like it or not. But, a lot of people have a lot of love for Tokai guitars. And depending on what era it is and the guitar itself, you may well love it.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck, mate.
Eric Burntson. Good Strats and Tellies seem to stand apart from each other, unplugged, with sound and feel. I've played cheap and expensive 335s, but they all seem cheap, unplugged. Is there a quality to listen for? Yeah.
It's interesting. So one of the things with semi-hollow guitars, I guess unplugged, you're really hearing the acoustic nature of the guitar, and and that's great. But when you plug them in, they can all sound. The differences can be really apparent. Plugged in.
Yeah, it does. It just sounds like a box of plywood, doesn't it? That's why it sounds cheap.
But it's when you get that thing turned up and the wind starts whistling through those F holes. That's when you. I think a 325 is going to be my next guitar. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze.
Yeah. Qualities. I guess the light ones are going to be more acoustically resonant. As is usually the case.
Yeah. It's a tough one though. So like for example, right? On this guitar, which is a solid body 1961 thing, and it's this thin slab of mahogany, but it's so loud.
That's what I'm saying. The light ones resonate better.
Yeah. but if we're talking about specifically with the 335s, because there's an acoustic element to them, it's hard to just picking one up going, what does it sound like acoustically, and does it necessarily translate to the quality of the instrument?
Well, the only thing that makes any difference on electric guitars are pickups, Dan.
Of course, it doesn't. None of them makes any difference at all.
Yeah. No. Sorry, not very helpful. Oh God, my really unfortunate experience with 335s is the more expensive they are, the more. Yeah. I don't know. That said, I've played some really, really great Epiphone dots.
Yeah.
I had one actually. Back along when I was a bit younger, and that was a cracking sounding thing.
Yeah,
we have joked in the past that they're all junk because they're made of plywood. It's quite a nice ply. It's a 3-ply of maple and poplar usually.
Interesting.
And I've been there. I've been to Gibson in Memphis and a custom shop. In fact, watching them select the centerpieces for lightweight.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, I don't know. Good luck, Eric. RJW. Hello, RJW. Dan, Mick, Catherine. Thanks for an amazing experience day last Friday. So who's this going to be? Rob, then, I expect. Yes, it is. Dan, thanks for all the pedalboard advice. Mick, thanks for wheeling out the Marshall. Absolutely brilliant from Rob.
Awesome, mate. Yeah, thanks for joining us, Rob. It was a really great day.
It was a really good day, and it was nice meeting all of you guys. It was a good hang. It was a great hang.
Yeah, great hang.
Greg Sachs. Hello, Greg. Finally got into speaker swaps. I got a Bad Cat Custom, which I understand is a modded V30, which is what we had said in a prior VCQ. It sounds great, but the change in feel was a pleasant surprise.
So
thanks
the
as
Bad
always.
Cat, which one?
Custom. So, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway, the point is, he likes the sound in the feel, Greg
Right.
does, but he also likes the sound. Sorry, he likes the change in the sound, but he also likes the sound change in the feel.
Yeah, right.
Makes a massive difference.
It does. It's everything.
It sort of stands to reason, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's where the noise comes from.
Yeah. Yeah, and that interaction with it, the way when you dig in to an amplifier that feels great, it's everything. It's a hard thing to explain. Again, one of the reasons why we love having people in the room when we say, check this out. Blank.
Yeah.
But yeah.
JBL says, have you ever swapped pickups in a 335? Indeed, I have. Unfortunately, too many times. Not in that one. I've got some Lola low wind Imperials that are about to go in it in a video. Neville's got his 63, and we're going to do it the same. We're going to do it at the same time. So look up for that in, I don't know, in weeks.
Great.
In weeks ahead.
Great.
Good evening, guys. I hope you're well, says Brian James. Hello, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
He says, Dan, how are you getting along with the Kincaid? I'm hoping for more acoustic videos soonly.
Oh, man. I'm overwhelmed with that guitar.
It sounds spectacular.
Yeah.
It's changed so much.
So I'm doing another video. So Johnny is looking for new premises at the moment, and I'm doing another video, and it'll be 6 months on from the guitar and how much it's changed. And we'll come in here and play it and, have a discussion. Yeah, it's overwhelmed. It's amazing.
Astonishing.
Yeah,
it's
I'm so
lovely,
happy.
lovely, lovely guitar.
Yeah.
Jason Wade. Hello, Jason. He says, haha, once again I have not beat off, the cut-off switch on the Super Chat. New pedal board. Worked wonderfully this week. The H9 has so many options. Thanks for the advice on the placement of the Exotic SP.
Fantastic.
I hope that worked for you.
Yeah, well done, mate. That's great.
Jason. ATB Pop says, love the 12-string video mic. How long till you get a baritone or a bass 6 now to get the other end of the frequency spectrum nailed?
I loved that video.
Thanks.
It was, it was so great.
I've been enjoying playing that guitar actually. It might be a while, ATB. I've had a rather purple patch of guitar acquisition in the last few months.
Yeah,
and I need to concentrate on playing them for a minute before we do too much else.
Yeah, we've got gigs coming up and stuff. As a lot, we'll get these ones sounding awesome. And
there's I'm really loving the 70 Strat actually.
Yeah, it's killer.
It's in the video this Friday. The 61 needs a bit of work just to get it where I need it to be, and once all the craziness is out of the way, I'll get that done. But
Lovely.
We should have a baritone though. We
absolutely should.
It's one of the things we should have.
We'll get Rabir to come in and help us find one, just to see Rabir again.
Nice. Actually, Rabir is talking about coming to see us again. He's really got into Strats.
Really?
Yeah, but in a heavy context. And I'm like,
oh, there's a show.
Let's do that.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Jeremy Watercotter. Unfortunately, delivery on my Top Hat Super Deluxe has been delayed to July. Fortunately, I've had the time to upgrade from a 112 to a 212 with a V30 and a G12H. Cheers to Silver Linings.
Lovely.
Top Hat, wow.
Top Hat, have you played those?
Maybe once, but I don't remember.
I've played it was an AC15 type amp they did. Far out, man. It was just spectacular.
Well, we hope you love that, Jeremy. July will come around soon enough.
Yep.
It will. Okay, that is us. Thank you.
Oh, well done.
Sorry we ran over a little bit. Yeah. Ron Dark says, I've got a 1962 330 that sounds crap acoustically. Also, the bridge was in the wrong place. Couldn't intonate.
Well, man, look at this.
Yeah.
So, 61.
Struggle intonating that guitar.
Yeah. However, you make it work.
Yeah. Bill Collins told me it's often the bridge is not in the wrong place. It's the neck's not set properly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I don't know how true that was. Good. What's your opinion on summing stereo to mono, says Ricky Reed. The Rig Doctor does not like them. I just can't see why you would want to sum anything that's stereo to mono other than in a broadcast scenario where stereo signals are a problem.
It's if you've got a stereo pedal board,
right,
and you only have one amplifier.
Oh,
how do you deal with that?
Oh, that's why we don't run stereo.
Yeah. But it all depends on what pedals what effects are, because you get some pedals where the modulation relies on that phase difference, but some things like if you sum a ping pong delay, you'll be fine. It all depends on the effects that you're summing.
Okay, that's us. Paddy says we'll leave the last comment to Paddy. Paddy, bass player who I'm playing with on Friday and who's doing the TPS gigs on the old bass guitar. He's
Excellent.
just off out to watch Paul Stacey.
Ah,
Have a good gig, mate.
fantastic.
Nice to hear from you. Groovy. Thank you for being with us. Dad's going to play us out. See you Friday. Have a great week, everyone.
See you later.